Hi, I'd like to talk a little bit, give you an introduction on different types of business structures. So the basics. The four that we'll talk about are sole proprietorship, partnership, there's limited liability company, which is LLC, and corporation. The most common structure is the sole proprietor. In other words, the owner that hangs out a shingle, the day they put out their sign, they are a sole proprietor. They've opened a business. All the debts, all the liabilities are the responsibility of that owner. It's the simplest to set up. There's very little paperwork that needs to be filed or required. The only taxes are the personal taxes. So most people that own their own business will try to find as many business expenses as they can so that their state and federal taxes, they can claim many of their receipts as business expenses. Downside, if the owner has debt, if there's a liability, if someone gets injured and sues the company, it is a responsibility of the owner, including their personal assets. So there is liability, and that one's a little bit dangerous. The second type is a partnership. And while it's very similar to the sole proprietor, just with multiple people, it's typically thought if you're getting into multiple owners, you would want to divide the shares and maybe set up a simple LLC or even corporation. That's typically what's done today to limit the risk and the taxes required. An LLC, a limited liability corporation. It's the most simple form of a corporation, and it's formed for a specific purpose, such as a specific type of company. It's a legal entity with separate tax benefits. If a company is found liable, it's only the company's assets that can be attached. And so it's a much simpler structure than a corporation, with many of the same benefits of a corporation. The next structure is a corporation. This is much more complex and usually requires some kind of a legal team to come in and create all the different components that make up the foundation for this corporation. It protects the shareholders the most. A corporation could have one shareholder, one owner. However, it also needs to have a board of directors and some type of overall officers that manage the bylaws for the company as well as the legal entity of that company. So in fact, the owner or the shareholder, single shareholder, really answers to these board of directors, and they're the ones that have to legally match whatever stated in the legal documents that created the corporation. A corporation is regulated by the state and the federal government, the state that it was founded in as well as the federal government, and it gives legal protection from liability and debt, which is nice, personal debt. However, it is double taxation. It would double tax that owner, all the salaries, as well as any of the profits for the business. So it is more expensive type of business structure. However, it does offer the most protection from liability and debt. So those are the basics of the four basic business structures. And so as you look through the PowerPoints and the textbook, I think this will hopefully make it a little more clear as you're looking at each of them, where they fit and how they will work with each other.